I'm honored to be asked to do Keynote. I found out that I was doing this, I don't know, a couple months ago. And I take this walk every day where I process things. And during this walk, I was thinking about, what am I going to say? And I thought of a bunch of things. And I had to kind of negotiate with Sherry, like, well, what do you want to do? Are you going to speak? Are you going to play music? Are you going to do like a experience? And I just wanted to do it all. So like, can I just do every session for the whole weekend? And but I've just got one. And so I'm like, how can I pack as much as I want to say and do together into this 1 hour slot? And since then, I wrote and rewrote and imagined and reimagined. What will I say? Looking forward, what will happen? Maybe even a little deeper, and there were other questions like, how will I look? How will I sound? Am I going to come across as professional or good? Or what will they think of me? What will I think of me? Looking forward, looking forward. And last night, still looking forward as I do for this, as I do for concerts, or any time that I'm going to be on a stage, or any time I'm going to be in a conversation, really looking forward. This morning I thought, I should probably decide what I'm going to do. And I thought I knew what I was going to do on the plane on the way here. I wrote it down. And then I thought I knew what I was going to do when I scratched that out and wrote it anew again. And even last night, rewrote it again. And I do this every single time. And at some point, I'll just stop trying to plan it. But maybe. This morning, I went on a run, and I thought, what am I going to say or do? And as I sit here right now, I'm thinking, here we are, Nathan. Always looking forward. When my wife was about halfway through term with our fourth child, we were told that she had a genetic condition which made her incompatible with life. And we were quickly put on a different track that we had not been on with our other 3 children preceding her. And this track was all about how to say goodbye to your child in the operating room, if you make it that far, if she makes it that far. And our life transformed in one moment. And the first thing that I did after my wife called me and told me was I hung up the phone, and I immediately got back to the work that I was doing before she called. It's like, how do I make money? Something else. And then eventually, when my mind was able to focus on what this meant, started asking the question, what's going to happen? And my mind was thinking about maybe I should get on the internet, find out what this disease is, Maybe there's something we can do. And we went to many, many doctor's visits and heard all about this condition. Heard all about how this condition made our daughter incompatible with life. And we were doing a lot of looking forward. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? And the answer kept being the same answer. We don't know. You don't get to know. And we were in a marriage counseling session and processing all of this with our counselor, and he asked me, "What's her name?" And I realized in this moment, this was months after we got the news, maybe a month or two before she was to be born, we hadn't named her. And I realized that I didn't really want to name her because I knew what that would mean. It would hurt that much more. And once that was clear, I knew we had to name her. Obviously, we'd have to name her. And we named her Olivia, which I think means life. And we continued to go to these doctor's visits, which were very, very often. We got to see sonograms of Olivia, 10 times more sonograms than we saw of our other children. And as we looked at these sonograms of Olivia moving, we would be listening to the doctors telling us about how she was going to die, how she was incompatible with life. And at one point, I realized this might be it. This might be my daughter's entire life. I realized she's moving. She's kicking. I can see her kicking. My wife can feel her kicking. She's here right now. She's alive. And even though the signals coming in are, here's how she's going to die, here's what's going to happen, the signals coming from my immediate surroundings, from my environment, from the reality, not the talk, but the reality were saying, I'm here. I'm alive. Here I am. As you talk about how I'm going to die, I'm here. I'm alive. And I realized, just like with naming Olivia, this was our chance to be with her while she was alive. And so these sonogram visits became our chance to know our daughter. And I started to reframe her life in my mind. Maybe this life ends at what I used to call day one. This is what we have, and that's her finish line. Maybe. That's what they're telling me. So we got to know her. She was weird. She had different features. Even in the sonograms, we could see, like, she's a little weird. She was very active, very strong. Olivia. She was living. This person who was incompatible with life was very much alive, despite the messages coming in from doctors who were doing their job. There was nothing wrong with that, but we were beginning to pick up on a different message. The day in the operating room was one of the scariest, maybe the scariest moment of my life and of my wife's life. They took her into it was like, with our other children's very natural birth. We had a midwife, whatever it's called, very natural. And with Olivia, it was emergency. We rushed to the hospital, C-section. Doctor was rushing to the hospital. It was very chaotic. And my wife was taken away to get numbed up, and then we met in the operating room. And at this point, it's complete, blur. It's just like a dream. I don't know even what's happening. And I'm sure for my wife, it was even more so. And she was numb from the neck down. And Olivia, surprisingly to us, was born alive. When she came out, there was no sound, and I thought, okay, this is, how do we do this? How do we do this? They told me someone would be here with a basket to take her when we're done. How do we do this? Just terrified. But I had begun to learn, if I don't want to miss this, I have to be here. And then she made a sound, and I was very surprised. And my wife was very surprised. She made a little cry. It was a weird cry, but she did make a cry. And they brought her over to me, and we put her next to my wife's face, the only place she could feel, she had feeling, and we just sat there and soaked in the minutes with Olivia alive still. And at this point, we were starting to get it. We may have seconds, maybe minutes. This is it. But I was already so thankful that I had had months and months to get to know my daughter. And then she kept living. And they sent us to our room that they send you to when you have a living baby. And we're like, what's going on? Okay, now we're in this room with Olivia alive. And within minutes of going to this room, she got spooked by something. Her nervous system went haywire, and she froze, and she stopped breathing. And I thought, okay, I think I know what's happening. This is it. We're going to say goodbye now. Just be here. This is all there is, and I don't know what's going to happen next. She turned white, and we said goodbye. And then she turned red, took a huge gasp, and screamed. And I was like, what's happening? That's it. I can't do this anymore. And she did that many, many times for the rest of that day and that night. And a couple days later of this happening, they sent us home with Olivia. We didn't have a crib set up. We're not ready for this. This is not the track that we were on. But we're here, and so is she. And even just the process of driving home, the process of getting her into the house. She had some of those episodes, and we thought we were saying goodbye, and then we said hello again. And Olivia was like, "Hey, I'm here. I'm here." And my mind is going crazy, thinking like, somewhere in there, in the back of my mind is like, you gotta look up this disease. Like, how old do kids get? Like, are we talking 15 years of this? Because I can't do this another day. What's gonna happen? She was very, very disabled. Never did hold her head up. She looked weird too. She didn't just sound weird or act weird. She was a funny looking little girl. Just perfect. And she kept calling me back. "Hey, I am here. This is where I am." And my mind kept going to her death. Like, well, when's the death going to happen? When's the end? What am I going to say at her funeral? What's going to happen? After several months of this, I started to become very tired. And I reached a fork in the road where I knew that either I was going to spend the tiny bit of energy that I had thinking about the future, or I could spend it being here with my daughter. And here, as wonderful as it was that Olivia was there, it was hell. We had 3 other kids. We were sleeping. So another aspect to this is Olivia didn't sleep almost at all. So we would try to take shifts, but we were always scared that we were going to miss her death at the night, because the nights were the worst. And so we slept for maybe 1, sometimes 0 hours a night, where we'd be holding her all night. We had to hold her skin to skin so that her temperature didn't fluctuate. Her nervous system just couldn't take any shock of any kind, almost any stimulus. We had 3 kids, so that was challenging. And so we weren't sleeping. I remember my birthday, which was her 1-week birthday, just passed out walking across the room and woke up on the floor. It was a challenge. And I was very aware of how poor of a father I was being to my other 3 children. Other people were coming to our home, they were doing our laundry, they were mopping our floor, they were taking our kids for a while and bringing them back. And then there's money. What about work? What about all that? I'm a songwriter. Like, I have to play music. That had been off the table for now months. What is happening? And I remember sitting in the bed one day, holding Olivia skin to skin, taking a shift, and thinking, I'm disappearing. Like, no one knows that I exist. I'm just in this one room holding my daughter. I don't get to go be famous. I don't get to go be seen. I'm just here, disappearing with my daughter. We're both gonna die here and disappear. And I felt that decision again. Figure out what's going to happen later, or you can be here. Olivia became a gravitational force for me, for my wife, for our family, for our community. An invitation to be here. Olivia, my daughter, who was incompatible with life, taught me how to live. Life doesn't exist in the future. It no longer exists in the past. It's only here. And now that here is gone, and here's another one. And I have spent my entire life living in the future, which isn't alive. We're living in the past, which is no longer here. So I'm so thankful to my daughter for teaching me to live. I thought that I was holding this posture of being here and nowhere else, now and no time else, in order to not miss her life. And then one day, she was now 14 months old. I was on a bike ride with my other 3 kids, just trying to get them out of the house, exhausted. Olivia had a cold, and I had been up with her all night the night before. She wasn't doing well. And we rode our bikes to get ice cream. And at this point, I'd really cultivated a posture of rest. Before Olivia, it was almost as if fear just lived in this body, in this house that is me. Always afraid, thinking of what could happen. But as I became more present, I began to feel that there was a rest in the house. And that fear was maybe sometimes surrounding the house, but there was this rest inside the house. So fear couldn't come in. So we're on this bike ride, we got some ice cream, and we were riding home, and I got a call. And it was a friend of my wife, good friend of our family, and she said, "You got to get back." She stopped breathing. And she had stopped breathing a lot of times, but I could tell this was it. And my oldest son, he looked at me and he's like, you just tell, like, is Olivia okay? And I said, yeah. She's okay. And we're okay too. And we started riding very, very fast on our bikes. I've felt a little bit like I did in the operating room, like very blurry, like a dream. We got home, and at this point, I was watching my body do what it was doing. I watched myself throw down my bike, and I ran into the back porch. Our friend kind of held the kids back for a moment, and I went in and found my wife holding Olivia. And a flood of pain, as everyone in this room has felt, came rushing in, along with these other things. And I held my wife with Olivia in between us, and I hugged her. And the only thing that I said, that I could think to say, I didn't even think to say it, but I heard it come out of my mouth, was, "We did it. We did it." I really don't think I could have done another day. Maybe Olivia knew it too. We couldn't do another day, and we didn't have to. We did it. I did not miss my daughter's life. I was there for her life, every moment of it. And so these other things, along with the pain I felt flood in, these feelings of victory, like crossing the finish line, were very confusing to me. And I think that if I would have still had my old posture, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? It's almost like I knew already what was going to happen before it came. So when it came, I knew how to feel. I think in that moment, I would have felt only pain, only loss. And I definitely felt those things, probably deeper than I would have felt them with my old posture. But I didn't only feel them. I felt these other surprising feelings. And then the period after her passing came. And I wondered, well, there was this little window, and I'm wondering how many people in this room had this experience. It may be because of our particular configuration, but there was this moment between her life, but knowing she was going to die, and the grief journey. This moment where it was like, that fear was surrounding the house. And then after she passed away, it was like fear just like turned around and walked away. And there was like this clearing of the sky, the clouds, and I felt peace and rest like I'd never felt in my life. I remember going on a run that morning after her passing, and just feeling unafraid. Very sad, but not afraid. Even the night before, that basket did end up coming, and the night before they took her away, and we looked at each other, my wife and I, and we looked at our 3 kids, and we're like, what do you do at this point? So we played a board game. And we laughed and cried and laughed and cried and laughed and cried and laughed, cried. And we just sort of let our body do what it needed to do without deciding what needed to happen. We just let the waves come and we let them go. The months after Olivia's passing, the years after Olivia's passing, were the darkest time. I thought I was going insane. I found myself in our garage trying to practice music, writing, and would just fly into a rage and start picking up bikes and throwing them. And I knew my neighbors could hear me screaming in the garage. Marriage was impossible. I was sure we were not going to make it. I wasn't sure I was going to make it. But I still heard Olivia's voice. Hey, you're here. Don't miss your own life. Come back. And so I came back. And instead of trying to not feel grief, or not feel rage, or not feel things I didn't want to feel, I decided to just be here. And I found that here was never quite as bad or impossible as thinking ahead. It's never quite as painful as thinking back. There was a lot of pain. But it was different. And I still feel that invitation now. I am slightly more functional, maybe, than I was, no, definitely, than when I was the first couple of years after Olivia's passing. I think it's been like 6-7 years now. It took me a while to feel like I could brush my teeth. I mean, like a while. Like years. And I had people around me like expecting, like, when are you gonna be normal again? Are you gonna write music again? When are you gonna do this? When are you gonna do that? When are you gonna, where's the old Nathan? And it pissed me off so much because I didn't know if that Nathan was ever coming back. And I know now that Nathan is never coming back. Because this is where I am. Now I want to extend the invitation. I know a little bit about the weight that all of you are feeling on your body. I know a little bit about the fear that pushes us to the future or to the past. And I want to just extend an invitation to you to be here. And I want to take this out of the theoretical, philosophical. I'm talking to your body right now. And so I'm going to invite you to do something with me that will not be weird, and you don't have to move even. So no one has to know what you're doing, which means that you have the freedom to step into this as much or as little as your heart tells you is safe for you. And you will know. But I want us all to turn our attention to our breath. Without changing it. Just see if you can notice that right now your body is breathing. Almost as if we were sitting on a beach together and we're just watching the waves of our breath coming in and going out. Just watching. And if you're anything like me, you're like, well, I want to do this, right? What do I do? Like, should I make it go deep, or should I hold it? Or so as one of these breaths come in, I'll give you something to do. The breath is going to go out. After the breath goes out, one of these times, almost as if your hands are on the steering wheel of breathing, the breath goes all the way out. There's going to be this moment where you're going to know, I'm going to breathe in at this point. When you get to that moment, just let go. And I say just let go like that's easy, but it's actually very difficult. All of modern culture is in a habitual state of a shallow breathing that comes with fight or flight. All of modern culture. That is so much more true for people who've been through trauma. So I know who I'm speaking to right now. It's not just let go. So I'll say just explore letting go. So again, one of these breaths is going to come in, then the wave's going to go out. See if you can just, a little bit even, after it goes out, let go. And keep trying it a few times. And it's going to feel like an eternity. If you're doing it right, you're going to feel like something's wrong. It's going to feel like, well, if I don't breathe in, I die. I need to breathe in. It's going to feel like a long time. Just see if you can trust and let go. I'll give you a couple more tries, and I'll do it too. Yeah, and for me on the stage, I can feel right now, I haven't registered it, and now I'm registering it. I'm in a little bit of a acute fight or flight because I'm on stage. That makes sense. And so I let it, I waited and it didn't come. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to die on stage. This is going to ruin my point completely. It came in. And then I'm going to invite you to try this. The breath is going to come in, and at some point, your lungs will be full, and you're going to go, oh, I'm going to breathe out at some point here. But instead of deciding to breathe out, see if you can just, at the kind of the top of the breath, let go. And if you want to get super advanced, you can chain these together. So try it. If you feel comfortable, try it. Letting go at the bottom of the breath. Letting go at the top. Keep trying. I'm inviting you to try this not just right now, but for the next however long you live. And as you try it, I'm going to direct your attention to a couple things that are happening right now for us in this room. So you may notice your body adjust a little bit. You may notice some different sensations. Just notice them and then keep exploring this breath. Letting go at the top, letting go at the bottom. And again, watching the waves as they come in and they go out. If it helps you to close your eyes, you can. But I want to tell you a couple things about what are happening right now and what you are actually inviting to happen right now. So in the middle of your body, there's a diaphragm connecting your ribs all around like a trampoline. And as you breathe out, the diaphragm goes up like a upside down ice cream cone. And as you breathe in, it goes down. In our culture, the breathing looks more like this. Okay, so that cone is barely moving. That's what you do when you're being chased by a bear. You don't want to be heard. You just need to get out. All of modern culture, even while we sleep, is habitually stuck. When a baby breathes, it goes all the way down. Babies know what to do. Their bodies know what to do. And so does yours. But it takes a lot of unlearning, a lot of letting go to invite our body to return to a natural state of breathing. So keep coming back. See if you can let go at the top, let go at the bottom, watch the waves. When you really let a breath in, you'll notice your belly moves. Breathing, people call this deep breathing or belly breathing. It almost feels as though the air is going into your belly or even into your legs. If you don't experience this now, you will at some point if you keep exploring this. It's not bad that you don't experience it now. But you may at some point experience that your belly moves. The reason your belly moves is not because air goes into your belly. That's not possible. It goes into your lungs, and the diaphragm only goes down halfway. But what happens is the diaphragm, when it goes down all the way, it displaces your organs, giving them a very gentle massage. And this gentle massage heals disease, prevents disease. It literally heals your vital organs. And the more that you let go and trust these waves to do their job, the more your body receives healing. So again, just tune in, see if you can feel that happening. And I want to point to a very specific aspect of this exercise. We're exploring right now how the more that we let go, the more that we trust our body, the more that we trust the waves, the deeper the healing. But I want to try. I want to work hard. Well, you don't have to. I want to be good at grief. I want to heal. You don't have to. You are being healed right now. There's nothing you have to do. And in fact, the less effort you give it, the more you trust the process, the deeper the healing will go. So the thing that's needed right now for our healing is not effort. It's courage. And I acknowledge that it's an ungodly amount of courage to let go when we have lost something so important to us. I don't want to let go of another single thing. But we never had what we had by holding on. Not the most important things. We can hold on to the future. We can hold on to the past. We can only receive in the present. You can only be where you are. I also just want to acknowledge a very frequent fear of mine as I was exploring this after Olivia passed away. I don't want to let go of the past. I do not want to lose one iota of Olivia. And that fear is based in a belief that Olivia is in the past. The one you lost is not in the past any more than you are. And I know that they talk about we're going to see our loved one in the future. And when that time comes, that may happen. But at this moment, I'm not in the future. The future has not existed yet. Life is here. And the closest I can possibly be to Olivia is here, still. I knew that was true when she was like physically alive. I'm choosing to believe this is my closest point of contact still. And I can sort of hear her still inviting me back. Hey. And here can be a very scary, painful place. But there are other surprising waves that come. So we're sitting here on this beach, and I've got probably 12 more hours of things that I'd like to take us through. I know that my time has got to be up by now. It's got to be close. This is not really what I planned at all. I haven't even started what I planned. This is none of them. But I want to bring our attention on one more thing. As we're sitting on this beach, and these waves are all different, usually surprising. None of them can be controlled. Have you ever tried to control a wave? Controlling our breath, controlling the waves of grief. Similarly, fruitless. All that creates is tension, stress, pain. I want you to notice as we're looking at these waves, and maybe for this part, I'm going to ask you to close your eyes, just so we don't cheat. Can you notice that as you sit on this beach, watching these waves, practicing being here, practicing letting go and trusting healing, that there are 825 other benches on this beach with a person on each bench watching the waves, trying to be here. And because the reason I asked you to close your eyes is because I want you to see, rather than just looking at the people in this room, can you feel how much right now, in this moment, you are not alone? And I've got 10 minutes, so I'm surprised. I thought it was gonna be late, but I'm gonna give you a couple of those, maybe one or two of those minutes to to just see if you can feel the others in the room with you right now. Can you feel that you are literally, very literally, not alone? Just let the music invite you more into where you're sitting right now. You can open your eyes if you would like. And now, it's not weird, but just take a second to look around. You may catch someone's eyes when you do this. Look as long as you or they want, and when it feels like too much, just look away. Who'd have known that this is where we'd be. Broke down, torn apart. In a bleak, cold night where we can't see what is going on. We are cold, pulled apart, trying to stay a little warm. A mask is not a mask if we don't cover up our eyes. When our hands are tied behind our backs through never-ending nights, our eyes can still say everything, like you are not alone. I am here. I am here with you now till the morning comes. Close your eyes. I am here with you tonight. We are cold, pulled apart, trying to stay a little warm. But a mask is not a mask if we don't cover up our eyes. When our hands are tied behind our backs through never-ending nights, our eyes can still say everything, like you are not alone. I am here. I am here with you now till the morning comes. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Close your eyes, 'cause you are not alone. I am here. I am here with you now, and I still see your smile. And I still see your smile. It's in your eyes. And I am smiling back at you tonight. I am here with you tonight. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for having me here. Thanks for letting me speak and share with you